Hey ya! How's everyone doing? I'm gonna give it just a few to see if anyone wants to hop on today, or actually tonight, because it is nighttime. At least it's 8 o'clock here. But today we are going to do a winter's fire brew / potion / spell, whatever you want to call it. We're gonna call it a little bit of everything. But we're gonna work a little magic tonight. So I hope you guys are ready. I'm gonna go ahead and just, like I said, give it a few more. Make sure I have everything right and I didn't forget anything, because we don't want that. Hello, hello. There we go. Ah, Ronnie. Hey, how are you? How you been? I think I have everything. And then, hey, yay, people are popping on. I was so worried. I was like, please. Then I was like, that's okay. Everyone will catch you in the replay. Hey, Jody. Eva, hey, good evening. All right, I love it. So we're just going to make a brew, and some people, they call a brew, like a spell to them. Some people say potion. Ours is drinkable tonight, but you can always make a brew or a potion that is not. So if you want to use like specialty herbs, you can definitely add specialty herbs. Just know that they're not consumable if you do use specialty herbs. That's one of the biggest things, but everything we're gonna use tonight is consumable. So yeah, so I hope you guys are ready for this. And we're gonna do like a little spell to it too. So that's another thing, keep in mind. If you're just gonna listen in, watch today, that is perfectly fine. I had to perfect my recipe a little bit. And I added a little surprise. So the ingredients I gave you, we're using them. However, we're using them a little differently as far as when we're gonna like apply them. Then we're also going to use a special ingredient that I left out on purpose, because the special ingredient not everyone likes, but it's interchangeable. You could use it for different things. So that's one of the other things I'm really excited about. Hey, Chantrice, Lindsay. Oh, yay. All right. Well, in that case, since I got a bunch of people on, why don't we at least get started and let our water simmer to a nice, like, warm state, because we don't want to boil anything, because again, we're taking the essence away from the magic if we boil it. We want to kind of compact the essence. So what I'm gonna do, we're gonna talk a little bit as this is kind of simmering a little bit. So what we're gonna do is we're actually going to start with our water. Now, one of the biggest things is we use magical waters for this. So yes, you can use tap water or bottled water or whatever kind of water you want if you don't have like rainwater or storm water or anything like that. I'm actually going to be using storm water for mine. And the reason why I'm going to use storm water, and I'll explain as I go through the herbs on why I picked them and why I want to use them. But the water I'm using is actually from July of this year. So it's the oldest water I have for a reason. So I kind of pre-stacked this water, and I didn't use it for anything else, only this recipe. So I hope you guys are ready. So I'm just gonna turn the camera a little bit so you can see kind of like what I have here, and I apologize for my messy kitchen. All right, so like I always do, Dragon Tea Time style of stuff, and this is how I have our layout. So we have our pot. You can use so many different things. Pot, you want to use a cauldron, it doesn't really matter. You can use kind of whatever you want. I'm gonna use a pot, and I use my littlest one that I have because it's just for me. It's my spell, it's my magic, it's just for me. Now if I was making, say, me and Megan, I might use a little bit bigger one, or I might just, no, I would probably just use a little bit bigger one. But here we go. So over here, I have a glass of storm water. So all I'm gonna do is I'm going to pour it in, okay? Now, you could use more than one. I am going to use more than one. So I'm going to get 2 helpings. Now I don't want to spill water everywhere. So I'm using 2 helpings of storm water. okay? When I say stormwater, I mean this was probably the most powerful storm we had of that month. So here we are. And then all I'm going to do is I'm going to set it to a medium. And my medium is like low for most people because this is old. This is what was in here originally. So yeah, I put it on medium. So I'm going to let it simmer. As you can see, mine's turning on, okay? Until it simmers, I'm not going to add any ingredients. Now, one of the biggest things is, let me just move this up here because we're going to talk for just a second while this is simmering. Stay, stand. Okay. So the ingredients that we're going to use today, we're using Irish black tea because I love Irish black tea. I love Scottish black tea, Irish black tea, and English black tea. Those are my 3 favorite blacks. I do like a few of the others. I do like Earl Grey and stuff, but Irish black tea is probably one of my favorite aside from Scottish black tea. And it's because it's a little simpler, smoother in my opinion, and I love the property values for it. So we're going to use Irish black tea, okay? We're going to use peppermint. We're going to use elderberry and juniper. Now, I did put on there that you can pick either or, so you can pick either or. I'm using both, okay? And then when I tell you why in a little bit here, it'll make more sense to you. Then we're going to use lemon peels, or if you want to use dry lemon peel too, kind of like I have orange peel I'm going to use, but my sons ate my oranges and forgot to save me the peels. So I'm going to use my dry blend. So I'm going to add this a little towards the end when we simmer. Orange peel, we're using cinnamon, okay? Then our added ingredient. And I'm not going to tell you what it is yet until we go through why we're using everything. So I'm going to save that one for last. It's our special secret ingredient. It's what makes the spell very strong. All right. Very witchy stormwater. Yes, Sanchez, you're right. And Lindsay says juniper is one of my favorites. Juniper is one of my favorites too, and I actually just like to use black tea and juniper and just use that as a tea, and it's amazing. Okay, so let's see. One of the biggest things between brew and potion, this is why I kind of say both, because some people prefer brew and because they're more just the spiritual side, and some people like the word potion because it's more magical to them, but they're interchangeable. All right, so one of the biggest things, keep that in mind, they are interchangeable. Brews can be enchanted infusions or mixtures meant to be consumed. Usually when you're talking about something like thick or fermented, a lot of people like to call those brews. So like, you know, beer, wine, things like that. They're a brew form. They've been fermented for a while. I just like the word brew because it just sounds magical too. And it's not as intense. So if I'm talking to someone from work and I say, they'll be like, oh, what do you have in your cup? I'll be like, oh, I have just a brew. And they'll be like, oh, okay, like liquor. I'm like, no, like tea. And they're like, oh, that's right, you call it brew. Okay, there's no alcohol in it or anything, but some people prefer it that way. But brew can also be like coffee. So keep that in mind too. Some people just say, hey, you want to grab me a brew? And they mean like, hey, let's go get some coffee or something. Stew is another thing. Stew can also be a brew. Now, a potion is an enchanted infusion that can be used or can also be like topical too. You don't have to consume it, but you can. You have the option, so it's like interchangeable. But like if you want to make a potion that has like, devil's claw in it or arrowroot in it, I wouldn't say consume it, but a potion nonetheless. Especially like, okay, we're gonna go a little old school here, guys. So think of it like, why can I think of the movie? Like she spelled the apple. Snow White, okay? She dipped it in like her cauldron. I don't know if you guys remember. And then that ooey stuff, that was the style of potion that she had brewing. And then she dipped her apple and then it dried into it and changed the apple. And it was a poisoned apple. That was a form of potion, okay? She made a potion for this apple to, you know, do what it was meant to do. There's so many other different types of, my work's emailing me. We don't want to answer them tonight. Another thing with a potion is you can use like, besides like any type of water, you can use like juice or wine also into your potion. Let's see. Yeah. I'm trying to think. Okay. So, ooh, it's getting hot. I can see it was cold in my house and now it's hot. Let me just throw this sweater over here, guys. Okay. So, so one thing with our potion brew is that we are making our own water base in a way. So we're not, aside from the fact that it is storm water, we're also adding like a little bit of lemon in it, and we're adding some cinnamon into it and some orange peel. And that's going to simmer into it, and that's making the base. So it's more like a juice base and not so much a water base, even though it's based with water. But we're making our own. If that makes sense. Okay? All right, so let me just turn and let me show you this. See? So I'm going to turn the heat down now by half. So it's going to be my low setting, which is just going to keep it on a simmer. That's exactly what we want until we throw stuff in. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take some cinnamon, okay? 2 sticks, broke it in half, so technically it makes 4 small. Or if you just want to throw 2 sticks in there, you can do that. I like breaking them in half because I like setting my intention into it, I know. So I'm going to take 2 sticks, and I'm going to break them in half. So let me move this lid over here. Make sure you get good. Okay. So all I'm doing is I'm taking the stick and I'm literally breaking it. Okay. And then what I like to do is I like to stir it counterclockwise first, and then clockwise second, and drop. Same thing with the second one. Break. And some people, they can like want to tap it 3 times. Same thing. Counter for 1, clockwise for the other. Okay. And as you can see, it's just gonna sit there for a little. Okay. And it's gonna simmer, and it's going to pull the essence from our cinnamon, and it's going to make it amazing. Okay. But this is the start. This is what we're gonna start with. Okay. So let's talk about why I'm picking the herbs I picked. Let's start with that, okay? So let's wait this here. All right, so Irish black tea, okay? Why am I using Irish black tea? Well, if you watch that little little tea live that I did, I explained what black tea represents, okay? So one of the biggest things for Irish black tea is that's really good for strength. It's really good for energy, and it's really good for willpower, okay? So that is why I'm using Irish black tea. Now, if you use like an Earl Grey, it's really good for like money spells or fortune spells. If you use English breakfast tea, it's more of an energy-based tea and a hype type of tea. The Irish black tea is really good for the strength, okay? And for this tea, I'm pulling that strength from this black tea, okay? The reason why I'm pulling this strength from this black tea is, okay, I don't know about you guys, but something's been going on, and it's turned my whole world upside down in just a week and a half, okay? I've been more like agitated, and I've been more, I'm not gonna say cranky, and I don't have my necklace on. That's why I feel weird and off. But I feel like just really not myself. And I took a new position at work, and I've been more stabbed in the back from taking this new position than I've ever had in my whole year of being an officer, okay? So, tonight I'm using the black tea for strength, okay? The next is we're gonna use peppermint, okay? Now I'm not gonna get very detailed into any of this because someone might wanna do an actual mini herb lab, but Peppermint's really good for like healing, psychic powers, dreams, love spells, renewal is another thing. But for us in this tea tonight is we're using it for transformation. So it's going to be a transformation herb that we're going to use our peppermint for, okay? The next one is elderberry. Everyone knows that elderberry is really good for healing and like helping with the common cold. But magically, it's really, really good for abundance, love, beauty. The most important thing is just like it does when it's taking care of us when we're sick, is it protects us. So tonight we're using it as a protection herb, okay? So elderberry, protection, all right? The next one are junipers, which I still have to buy more. This is all I have left, which is totally fine for the night. But junipers, I did a little mini incense live, so we talked about that it's really good for spirit communication, okay? It's really good for wisdom, manifestation, clarity, love, things like that. But tonight, I'm using this more. You ready? You ready? I'm using it more for a banishment. Okay? And when I say I'm using it more for a banishment, I mean against like a curse or a hex that was placed upon me. I don't know if I was. I didn't do a hex test to find out, but I did. I do feel different, so something's wrong, okay? And there was a falling out with some witches recently. I might not have been completely involved, but I was somewhat into it because of my connection. So I'm making sure that I wasn't hexed or cursed in the process, just a vendetta kind of thing. So banishment for hexes and curses, okay? Let me just go back. See, ooh, Sarah Lee, you made it. I had a feeling you were. Eva says, I was just about to ask the difference between brews and potions. Thank you for clearing that. Yeah, it's kind of all based on your own preference, but that's how I always look at it. Like if I'm using like a juice base or if I'm using like wine, I'm gonna call it mostly a potion. If I'm using it more of like, if I'm making like coffee, or I just have just like water based, just like the storm water, or if I'm making a stew or anything like that, or alcohol that's fermented and stuff like that, I might probably consider it a brew. Or I just feel like calling it brew because I'm too lazy to call it anything else. So yeah, but there is some difference in it. And you know, if you use infusion, sometimes you use herbs, sometimes you use fruit, sometimes you use vegetables. That's more of a brew style too. If that's mostly just what you use in your water. Sarah Lee says, need as much protection as we could get. Yes. Oh, yes. I have a new position as well, and for me, imposter syndrome is getting to me, so I need this. See? I know I'm not the only one. How can you know if there's been a hex put on you? So, real quick, not to get too sidetracked, let me check my brew. Yes. Cinnamon's coming out perfect. There's actually a little test. If you take 2 matches, put them together, strike them, okay? Have a bowl of cold water, and I mean like cold water, in a bowl, okay? Good size one, probably like, well, I say like the size of this, okay? Nice big bowl. Fill it up halfway with water, strike your matches, don't blow them out. Drop them together into the water, let them sizzle themselves out, and then if the points of each of the ends, or just one of each ends, touches, you are hexed. If they don't touch at all, obviously you weren't hexed at all. If they touch, but then kind of like float together, and then kind of like not really touch, but kind of touch, means you were somewhat hexed, if not hexed, but it bounced back, or someone attempted to hex you but weren't completely successful. There's so many different ways to look at it, but I always look at it that way. So if they touch on the tip, yeah, you were hexed. If they completely touch, like they're side by side, like you could tell, baby, that stuff stuck, and it was a good one, okay? But if they kind of touch at one end or the other end, yes, you were hexed, but it's breakable. Then, like I said, if they kind of touch but not, or they kind of float side by side, you were tempted to be hexed, but it wasn't, you know, it didn't stick. And then again, if they don't touch at all, you're in the clear, okay? And I know this works too, because Megan and I tried it. I did one, and then she did one, and I already knew I was hexed forever ago, and sure hell fucking stuck. Her, nothing. And I said, see? And she's like, oh, that's really cool. So yeah, so try that. And it's very simple, very easy. just make sure you set your intention, okay? When you're thinking about it, you know, think of it that way. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that because I've been feeling off for a while and I didn't know we can test to see. I'm gonna give this a try. Definitely try it and let me know. I actually had another girl that was a member on our group page do it, and yeah, it was dead on. She was scared. Okay, let's jump back to the tea because I don't want to keep it too long. Probably because I gotta get up at 3 a.m. in the morning. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to use lemon. Now, we're going to use lemon peel as kind of a garnish in a way. We're not going to shred or anything, but we're going to use the peel as a garnish. Now, if you really want to use the lemon, you can use the lemon for it. Lemon's very bitter. I don't like it in my black teas as much. I just kind of like it as a little, just to give that little bit of flavor, but it's more of a garnish, okay? But the lemon peel, or the lemon, as you can say, mostly it's for like clarity and happiness. It's very aura cleansing too, lemons. So tonight for this is we're going to use it more of a clarity, okay? Finally seeing, you know, that not everyone's your friend, or seeing that not everyone's going to always be there for you. So you got to be there for yourself, okay? So it's an eye opener. That's what we're going to use the lemon for, okay? If you are, get some black cat oil fast, please. Yes, that's a really good curse and hex breaker. Yes, very good. Hell yeah, girl. Okay, orange peel. Like I said, I'm gonna use the dry version because my sons actually eat my oranges and didn't keep the peels. But orange peel is very good for like cheer, abundance, attractions. Okay, but another really good thing about this is it's a renewal. So lemon peel is, for today is we're going to use it, or lemon, oh my gosh, orange peel we're going to use for renewal. So starting fresh, okay? Let's see, the next thing is obviously cinnamon. So our cinnamon, okay? We know it's for protection. Cinnamon's really good for passion. It's really good for luck, power, success, warmth, money, healing, okay? So for tonight, we're using our cinnamon, which is going to assist with our juice to make our potion. Is we're going to use it for strength and healing. So we needed 2 times the strength, okay? But the healing is more of an internal healing in this case too, okay? Put that out of the way. All right, and are you guys ready to hear what your like secret ingredient is? You ready? Now you can use fresh or you can use frozen. I use frozen because I like to make cocktails a lot. Yes, magical cocktails, guys. Maybe one day we'll do a cocktail live. Magical one. But our secret ingredient is cherries. Okay? Now, not everyone likes cherries, but I do. So it's interchangeable. You can use cherries, you could use cranberries, or you can use strawberries. There's the 3 types that'll go perfect with this brew. I've tried all of them, so I promise it does work. It's just your own personal preference. But tonight, I'm going to use cherries with the buds in, okay? Only because we're making the juice with them, okay? So, cherries. Cherries represent new beginnings, okay? They represent good fortune. They represent revival, okay? In this case, we're using it as a revival. Now, here's the catch. We're using it as a revival from the dark place in your mind, okay? So, like I said, the healing is coming internally. This revival is bringing you back to yourself from the dark thoughts, from the depression, from the anxiety, okay? That's where the cherries are, okay? So here's an easy way to think of it. Cherries have pits, right? Okay? The pits is the inside of your mind. The outside is the cherry. So by us making this is we're seeping the outside, okay? And allowing the pressure to dissipate in this case, okay? From the inside, okay? This has got to go for us as far as what we're thinking, what we're drilling on, the stress, the agitation, the anger in some people's cases, me, okay? The meltdowns, you know, the freaking out. That's why we're using cherries, okay? We're reviving ourselves, okay, from the darkest, shadowy place that is in our mind. This isn't a shadow working. This is us hunting for ourselves again, finding us again. That's why we're going to use cherries. So what do you guys think? You guys like that little secret? Now, again, if you use cranberries, look up what cranberries make or represent, okay? I know, like, on our old group, I did one with cranberries. Strawberries, they have the same thing. If you're doing more of like a love thing, strawberries are really great. If you're doing more of a passion type of, like you're trying to find more passion in your life, strawberries are really good too. If you want to use pomegranates, be careful. But you could always use pomegranates too, especially if you work with Persephone. Pomegranates work really good. Jody says she loves it. Sarah Lee says, I have to figure something out to replace the cinnamon. Even the tiniest bit gives me acid reflux. White willow bark. You won't get the same exact texture. Ooh, actually, I better get, if you like cherries, wild cherry bark. Listen, I've done the same thing with wild cherry bark, just for fun, playing with it, trying to experiment and stuff. Holy crap, it's so good when it's seeped out. Try it. If you can't use cinnamon, maybe try wild cherry bark. Any type of bark, actually. If, like I said, I like white willow bark. It's really good for headaches. But yeah, wild cherry bark. I actually have some. I have like maybe like that much left of mine. But yeah, try that one. You might like that one too, instead of the cinnamon, because we don't want you to have any issues. And again, you can find something to replace it. Like if any of these herbs you don't like, find something that has the same representation, same property, and just switch it out. Test it, see if you need a little bit more, a little bit less. Everything I do is intuition based on how much I use. So like a teaspoon here, a seep here, a part here, anything like that. Okay? All right. So I think I went through all of that. And you can't smell it yet, but we're going to start finally getting into this. So, you guys see that? Maybe I need to move a little closer and drop this baby down. There we go. Is that a little bit better, guys? Hopefully. Don't mind my cupcake. It's my cookie jar. Alright. So, here we go. So what we're going to do is we have our cinnamon, okay? Now, I want you to smell this. So close your eyes and breathe it in. Smell the cinnamon, okay? Now, what we're going to do is we are going to add our cherries, okay? Doesn't matter how much you want. I like sweet, so I'm going to add at least like 4 or 5 of these babies. So there's 4, 5. Okay. Make sure I don't mess up my stove. Okay. So you can automatically see the cherries, literally the essence just coming out. Like, it's so amazing. Okay. So as this is doing that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this little cup here, empty. See, there's nothing in it, completely empty. It's actually a measuring cup. Isn't that cute? A measuring cup. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this. Let me move it over here. So. Oh. Okay. And then here's how we're going to start. So I'm going to take my Irish black. The spoon. Okay. Now again, this is all intention based. So because of the cherries, I'm going to put 1 teaspoon or 1 seep or 1 part, depending on how you want to call it. And here's 2 parts. Now because I'm feeling froggy, I'm going to add a half of one. Okay. Now the whole time, everything, remember guys, you're going to be thinking about where you're pulling this from. So remember, black tea, strength, okay? We're pulling this for strength and willpower, you know, even energy if you want to. Then we're going to take some peppermint. Okay, so here's our peppermint, right? And I love the smell of peppermint, so I'm not mad. So I'm going to take 1 part, okay? And I'm just going to stir it. And I think I'm going to use a half a part. So just a half. Just like that, okay? Now, peppermint, remember guys, was all for transformation in this case. We're using it for strong transformation, transforming yourself, coming into realizing that, you know, it's not about everyone else or anything like that. Then I'm going to take some elderberry. Now, I used to boil it, but I don't want to boil it. Why? Because when you boil elderberry, it's really, really strong and it seeps so quick. So I like to have a slow seep, so I'm going to put it in our bowl instead. But I'm just going to put 1 part of elderberry. And our elderberry, remember, is for protection. All right? Now, our juniper. Now, you can either put it in your juice mix, or you can go ahead and actually put it in your bowl. I'm going to put it in my bowl. So I'm taking 1 really good heap of this because I love juniper berries. Love them. So remember, juniper berries is for banishment from any hexing, any cursing that might have been bestowed upon you. So this is what it looks like so far, okay? And I always make a little bit more because I like to have some for a couple times. But for our potion tonight, I want to make sure you get a good view of what everything looks like. All right. Now, I told you we're using the lemon for garnish. So that's why I have it to the side. I already have a couple pieces already cut up for our garnishment. Now, I'm going to take my orange peel, okay? And I save this for last. And why I save it for last, guys, is because I actually put it in our actual base here, okay? Because when I put it as our base, it doesn't take very long to seep because these are dried, all right? So let's go ahead and take, I only need 1 seep of this because mine are really fresh and strong. So here's 1 seep, okay? And as you sprinkle it on, remember that your orange peels are all about revival, okay? That's what we're using it for, revival, reviving yourself, finding yourself again, okay? I'm just gonna stir it. And remember, if you use dried peels in here, it doesn't take very long to like get it going. Okay, and remember we already have the cinnamon, and the cinnamon was for healing. It was for strength, okay? And then, of course, our cherries that we already have in there, it's all about reviving from the dark place in your mind, okay? So as far as the little blend here that you have, we already included everything that we needed to. So the black tea, the elderberries, the peppermint, the junipers, okay? So then you get yourself a little ball, a little tea ball, maybe a little bag if you use bags. But here's my empty tea ball, okay? Nothing crazy or fancy, just a simple little tea ball. And then what we're gonna do is, while we're letting that simmer a little longer, we're gonna go ahead. We're gonna go ahead and fill our ball a little, okay? So make sure when you do this, you're literally thinking of every property, okay? So you're thinking of the strength. Now, depending on how much you want to fill up, I like my tea a little strong. Some people don't, so that's perfectly okay. But I like mine a little strong. Hey! That is enough. Will you get him to stop that, sir? So here's my little tea ball, okay? Half filled. I like it that way because of the water. Since we're not using too much water, it'll be filled perfect, okay? Now, of course, we always have a spell to go with this. We can never do anything without having a spell because that just wouldn't be us, now would it? So let me move this over here. Put this. Now, one of the biggest things is, how are we going to get the water out of this, right? Okay? Well, you can use a strainer, a little strainer. So I have a bigger one because I'm an overachiever like that, and I usually make bigger blends of stuff. But you can use like a smaller one. They have ones that are like this, maybe this big, but mine is pretty big. It's bigger than my hand, okay? And I do this over the sink, so that's why I'll disappear for a second, but you will put it like this, and then what you'll do is you'll take your base, and then you'll pour it in, and it'll catch all the herbs that we don't want to actually flow in here. Now, if you're one of those ones you want the herbs to stay in there, have at it. I don't. So I'm going to obviously strain. Now, what I do with these herbs, Loki, please stop. What I do with the herbs afterwards is I actually bury them. I don't discard them in the trash, but you can. There's nothing wrong with that. Just thank them for their essence and thank them for giving you the power that we're doing tonight here, okay? That's just one of the biggest things. So I'm just gonna disappear real quick over here just to pour this, because if I get this all over my counters, I'll cry. But I just want to show you real quick what this looks like without spilling it on myself. But there it is, okay? So you have your cinnamon, and you have your cherries, and you have your lemon, or your orange peel, okay? So I'm going to disappear for 1 second, guys. So, what do you guys think so far? I hope you guys are ready for the spell that's going to come next. That's exactly what we're doing next, is the spell. I got my little towel here. I'm going to wipe my excess off. Now, one thing with the lemon peel bits is I'm going to have like a little bit of lemon peel bits in mine, which you can kind of see it floating around. To me, it's no big deal because it's little. But that is so far what it looks like. So it has more of a reddish tint base. It'll darken here. Now, one big thing to remember when it comes to this, guys, is with black tea, you don't want to let it seep too long. So I wouldn't let it seep more than 5 minutes, because if not, it becomes very bitter, and we don't want bitter tea, right? So I like to stir my run counterclockwise for positivity, right? I'm sorry, clockwise for positivity, counterclockwise to rid of negativity. Okay, that's one way I always look at it. So I'm just gonna let mine hook here. Now, there's 2 different types of spells we can do. So the first one I created myself. Let me move this up because I feel really short with you guys with my little stand here. I think it just kept shrinking and shrinking and shrinking. Okay, so I created 2 for you. The first one is more of a general. The second one is the one that I created for a reason tonight, because of why I made this for me. Okay, why this has to be so powerful. All right, now when I say I put my intention and everything into this, I mean I literally sat there for 2 days with these herbs, all the herbs I already pulled out, we just blended with, literally sat there and I was talking to them. I was helping them understand why I needed this to work so strong, okay? Why I'm so passionate about getting this blend done and drinking this tonight and going to work tomorrow a better me, a stronger me, and letting the wounds heal from the backstabbing, okay? So, let me read these. So, the first one, the general one, the first one is, here's the spell, okay? So, what we're gonna do is I'm gonna have you focus on the brew, and I'm going to read it. Close your eyes, okay, when you do this, and see if this one speaks to you, this spell I created. And I do not mind. Remember, if I say it on a live, I do not mind if you guys use these spells. You can tweak them, make them stronger for yourself. It does not matter because it's yours, okay? I made this for our group, so I'm totally fine if anyone wants to use it or share it, okay? So let me just go ahead and slide this down. I want you guys to get like a really good view of the tea blend. All right. think I got it for you guys. Would you? And look at the steam, okay? Look at the everything that's coming off of it. Let's see, can I sway this up a little bit? Nope, I like it right here. Okay, so first one, here we go. Close your eyes. Focus on the steam. Imagine the steam, okay? I'm gonna pull this out because I don't want it to seep too long. But we're gonna leave it right here in the back so you guys have still a view of it. On this cold night, and by the winter's hold, allow thy voice to break free, and call upon the fires of warmth and power, so no wickedness can be set forth around me, inside me, and throughout me. Let this night set thy words, so let it be. Now, that was the first one. The second one is simple, but extremely powerful. Close your eyes. Smell the strawberries and the cinnamon. Or I should say the cherries, I'm sorry. I hereby call all of my power back to me. Of all other influences, may I be free. So hear me now, for all to see. So it shall be. For never darkness inside shall reside within me. I release all influences. So now it may be. And that, my beautiful darlings, is our winter fire brew or potion, whichever you want to call it. It's a very pretty color, and if you haven't noticed, I love the color of reds. Just wait until I work with butterfly pea flowers. What about purple and blue colored teas? That'll be it for another live. But ladies, drink your tea. Own this shit, okay? This is powerful. Why? Because you put your heart and soul into it. If you want to light candles, light some candles when you're making this brew. If I was doing this by myself, I would probably have this all in the darkness. And I would have, say, my candle here. I would have some incense. I wouldn't have my sons playing video games in the background. I'd probably do this night where everyone was really asleep. It was just me in the kitchen making some tea. Because that's all it really is. It's something you set, okay? There's magic and power in everything. But what is your stronger suit? Do you make oils better? Do you make sprays better? Make some tea that's more powerful. I've come to realize that I'm better at making my teas and having the intention and the energy and the power and the strength that I get from it. Ask me tomorrow how I feel. Ask me tomorrow after I work my 8-hour, 16-hour shift, depending on if I get stuck, froze or not. Ask me if I made it through the day with no pain, no fear, no worry. Did I do my job? Did I make anyone mad? Did I have any new stab wounds, right? Ask me tomorrow. And I guarantee, just like my jar spells, this will be powerful. So, if no one has any questions, let me look real quick, make sure I didn't forget anything. No, you're good, Kathy. You can always rewatch, no worries. Sarah Lee says, I love this. Yay! I love making my tea blends for you guys. Ronnie says, it's kind of a dark amber color. Yeah, it's like a red dark amber too, and it all depends on how you let it sit too. The cherries turn it a little bit more red, so if you use strawberries, it'll turn it red. If you're using cranberries, it'll turn it red a little bit. But the black tea turns it that like a little bit darker of an amber red. So yeah, definitely. It's just pretty much, and then if you don't even want to use a fruit or anything and you just want to keep it herb based, that's totally fine. It'll look like a black tea. I promise you that. It'll be like a darker, or I'm sorry, it'll be a lighter black tea because of the peppermint and, you know, and then of course, you know, we can't forget, before you go to drink it, put your lemon in on top. Like I said, just sit it in there, kind of like this. So here's my lemon, okay? I have my tea, and right before I go to drink it, that's when I say garnish. Adds the flavor without tainting it or making it bitter, because some people don't like the bitterness. But yeah, you can do it just like that. So it just kind of adds a little bit to it. Ronnie says it's all about you, and that's exactly it. It's all about you, okay? It's about your power, your strength. Michelle sneaking a peek while on the phone call. I won't tell, I promise. Kathy says, definitely will. I love your tea blends. Yay! I have so many more that I've been slowly creating. I got hold of my new priestess, and we were working with a new dragon one. So I'm actually, when I do dragons, that month, we're going to actually make a dragon tea. We're going to work with the dragon current that day with her approval and permission. So I hope you guys are excited for that one, because I am too. Ronnie says, mine is smelling delicious. You made it with me? You have to tell it. Take a picture of it. Let me know. I'm excited. But yeah, definitely. Let me know how it tastes, okay? And again, you can tweak it anytime. If you want a little bit more of a peppermint taste, add a little bit more peppermint. If you want more of the black tea, add just a little bit more black tea. Remember, Earl Grey tea is more bitter and stronger. So if you like stronger black tea, use Earl Grey. Kathy says, I love that you're so giddy about your blends. Listen, you can tell by my energy level when I make this or I put a spell on it. I just feel it. Like it's there. Like you get so excited because you just know it's the right way. If I don't feel good about it, I shouldn't drink it. But this I feel really good on. Okay, so I want you guys to make this blend if you want. If you already made it, take a picture, post it on the page. I want to see, I really do. Let me know how you like it too, and then let me know how you feel about it. Remember, it could take a couple minutes to set. It can take the next day. It could take maybe just a couple days. Magic isn't always instant, right? Just keep that in mind. But yes, definitely, okay? And of course, it has strong medicinal properties too. Keep that in mind also. Ooh, so I like spice, so I'm adding, what is it, Habana honey. That's that spicy one, like kind of like a habanero in a way, right? Or jalapeno. Can't remember. I really should know these. I'm not a spicy habanero. Yeah, my words aren't always perfect, I promise. Okay, and on that note, I'm gonna head and take a nap before I have to get up in a couple hours for work. I love you guys. I'm so excited to be doing Dragon Tea Time again with you guys. I hope you enjoyed yourself. We're going to do more of these. I'm going to try to do one once a month if I can, or at least every other month. Next month is gonna be a little tricky. I might try and work something out. It is gonna take some practice as far as finding the right spell to go with it, because that's what we do. We're magical, okay? It's in the words. But I hope you have a great night or morning or afternoon whenever you're watching this. I love you guys. So good to be back. And it's going to be even better when I can be myself again and not feel stressed. Have a blessed night. Blessed be. I love you.